Hi YouTubers, welcome to my channel. Now if you saw my review of the British Army issue survival pack, bag, whatever you want to call it, kind of thing, half a rucksack if you ask me, check the review out first of all because I've taken some products from the BCM Adventure survival tin, mixed it with the Polymath of survival tin and came up with my own, which I think is quite a useful bit of kit, survival tin. And I'll show you what's in here and why I selected it right after the trailers. Welcome back. Now, I was mentioned a few times, and if you're a regular watcher of some of my channels, survival kits and survival tins are personal to you and the environment you're going to find yourself in. That's why I much prefer to make my own than rely on any shop bought or a package that's been put together by somebody else. Because, what I put in my tin might be completely different than what you put in your tin. But, I'll go over what I've put in. It might give you some ideas. I'll explain why I've put them in the tin and why I've selected them. And, at some point I'll take all the items out into the woods and test them out so you can see how good quality they are. So before I tell you what's in my survival tin, let me just reiterate why I select the items and how I go about doing that. First of all, think about the kind of scenarios you're going to be in. Start thinking about what would happen that would stop you from getting to your rucksack or to your car. Now this survival tin goes into my pocket whenever I go walking in the woods, whenever I even do a 2-3 mile walk with friends, if I'm taking their dog for a walk. This is always in my pocket. Why? Because even if I'm in a woods somewhere, I'm still 2-3 miles away from a road. Most of the places I go walking in isn't got a high footfall, so if anything did happen to me, I could be there for maybe a few hours, maybe even an evening, overnighter. So that's the kind of things I'm thinking about in my head when I'm selecting what items to put in my tin. Yes, I could probably pack some more. I could put some other items in there. So, why I've put these items in is all the kind of scenarios that's going to happen to me when I'm out and about. And if you're going to pack your own survival tin, I recommend you do the same thing. It's very personal. I'm sure the items in here, some of you may disagree with, but these are the things that go into my survival tin. So keeping it all together, you saw was the Ranger band or an inner tube cut up. If anybody knows what size inner tube that is, then let me know. I wouldn't mind buying an inner tube of a similar size, or if anybody's got one and want to donate it to me, or just cut some up and send me a few. I wouldn't mind having a few more of these because they're quite useful. And that size just seems to be perfect for the tobacco tin survival kit and also the Polymath survival tin as well. So as you can see from the Polymath survival tin, this is probably twice the size. So obviously you can expect more products. So as you can see, quite a lot of equipment fitted into the tin. First of all, let's talk about the tin. It's a standard tobacco sized tin. It's also got a silicone seal along the lid. That just adds an extra layer of waterproofing and water protection. These are great. These are Polymath Torches. And if I could find if they sold them individually, I'd probably buy a few of these, but apparently at the moment they don't. Just a bit of a light source. And some water purification tablets, as well as a water carrying device. In this case, it's a condom. I've got my cutting instruments here. I have a small blade, small little blade here. I've got the standard razor blades, and I've also got, this is the BCM saw. Now, be careful with a cheap Chinese rip-off of these. The BCM one's probably the best I've come across. I mean, they're bomb-proof, they last a long time. Yes, they're a few pounds more, but if you're going to be in a survival situation, then them few pounds are going to come in handy. So don't skimp and save on any of this equipment. Again, the BCM saw that came with the survival kit is very good. I've put in a sewing kit. Now, you know, I hummed and hawed, and I may take the sewing kit out and put a fishing kit in there. But at the present moment, the sewing kit's in there. And, you know, use the comments if you think, if you'd put the fishing kit in instead of the sewing kit. The reason I've got the sewing kit in, I can think of a few reasons why. Maybe a shirt's ripped, or I would have put a button on something just to keep me warm. So I thought that was probably more important than me going fishing. So hence my thinking behind putting that in instead of the fishing kit. The signal mirror. Again, if something happens to me, it's useful to signal. This is from the Polymath survival tin, and I picked this because it was really good and high quality. It's a flint. As you can see, quite a good flint there. And also, it's a whistle. Very useful in a survival situation. Because I like to double up, I've got some windproof matches in there as well. Very useful if for starting a fire. And then I've got some tinder. So let's talk about each item in turn. Obviously, you can pick up slightly cheaper space blankets, but I highly recommend you putting a few more pounds into your survival tin and get a half decent one. This is from the BCM, and there's a few items. The BCM equipment does tend to be high quality. The thinking behind the tweezers is, you know, useful for getting spelks out, getting you know, knits, etc., and always useful to have. The compass, you know, just in case I didn't have my mobile phone and I get slightly disorientated, I need to work out the way back to the road. Then, you know, the compass, I always roughly know where the road is wherever I'm camping, and that will give me a fighting chance. And I have a small first aid kit. Now, you know, this isn't a huge amount. These are a few of these stereo plasters that are quite useful. You know, if I've got a cut, these will close it up a bit. The liquid skin is brilliant, also designed to kind of close any small cuts up. I've got some cordam oil here, very strong painkillers. If I am in pain, I've injured myself, but I can limp or somehow get back to my pack, that would be obviously my preferred option, and maybe to keep the wounds clean in case I'm going to be there for some time. It's a basic small first aid kit, but it packs small and it fits into the tin, and it's a few little items that I think I would need. So what have I got? If we go over it and we understand the rules of survival. So I've got cutting, which actually I've got 3 items here for cutting. The old classic, you know, 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is a 2. So it's always useful to have multiple options. So there's my cutting. My cordage is obviously always on my bracelet and my key ring. I've always got plenty of cordage on me. So I've got cutting, I've got cordage. I've got cover. So these space blankets would give me some level of cover from the elements if required. I've got ways of starting a fire, you know, compulsion. So I've got some tinder there, and I've got 2 ways of actually getting a spark. Communication, I've got the signal mirror and the whistle. You know, care, I've got ways of, you know, administrating care to myself or to anyone else that I may come over, but I've got a much more in-depth first aid kit in my pack. So if I am mobile, I'd head back to my rucksack and get myself a much better care pack. Bear in mind, this is just a bit of care for myself if for any reason I can't get back to my rucksack. And I've got, you know, collection. So this is water to get some fluid into my body. If I am injured, then I'm going to go into shock, and fluid is the best thing. So you get some fluid in. I do try to carry a water bottle on my belt, but I'm a bit lazy sometimes. And if I'm thinking, oh, I'm only going a few hundred yards, I don't always carry my water. So this is always in my pocket. So some sort of way, and even if it's a little puddle or something like that, I can get some liquid into me, because the biggest killer in any kind of first aid scenarios and accidents, as most people know, it is shock, you know, and it's getting fluid back into my body. And when push comes to shove, if I had a choice between dying of shock or, you know, giving myself the shit, I just drink straight out of a puddle. But it's nice to have an option to kind of give something back. And then we've got communication, mirror, and the whistle. And, you know, I'm still not 100% sure about the first aid kit, the sewing kit. But again, I probably wouldn't put a fishing kit in there. So that's my cut down survival tin. So there you go, that's my survival tin. As always, click to subscribe if you like it, or leave any comments on any of the items that you would replace, what you'd change it with, what would you take. Bear in mind it's only a small tin, so if you're going to add something, you're going to take something away. So look forward to your comments, look forward to your likes, and of course, you know, carry on sharing, and let's grow my channel. Thanks a lot, guys.